Aloha mai kākou. Welcome to another episode of WāKahikoWednesday. My name is Iāsona. I'm one of the culture educators here at the BishopMuseum, and today I'm coming to you from Hawaiian Hall, up on the third floor, which we refer to as Waulani, which is a place where we focus on the history of Hawaii, particularly the Hawaiian Kingdom and the Ali'i, the royalty who ruled in that period of our history. And the focus for today specifically is on the last reigning monarch of the kingdom, Queen Liliʻuokalani. And the reason I wanted to focus on her is because this is somewhat belated, unfortunately, but it is an acknowledgement of her birthday, which was earlier this month, back on September 2nd. And there's been some other events, other observances going on around our islands. We wanted to acknowledge that and focus on the artifacts that we have that are connected to her, that belonged to her, and showcase how our museum has our own piece of that history and shares in that legacy, and to acknowledge and remember that. And an important thing to note is the connection between Liliʻuokalani and our namesake, Bernice Pauahi Bishop. They are both ali'i, both royalty, and they are, though, of different lines. So Pauahi Bishop is of the Kamehameha line. Liliʻuokalani is distantly related to this line, but not a direct descendant of Kamehameha. But they have a special relationship beyond that, and we can see an image here that is the two of them as young women, and their relationship, and we can kind of see this here, although given the way photographs are taken in this earlier period of time, that's why we don't really see lots of smiling that maybe we're used to, because it actually would take quite a bit of time to get the photograph taken, so it'd be harder to keep that facial expression. But anyway, my point is that they are actually sisters, not in the direct biological sense, but in the sense of the tradition of hanai, which we loosely translate as adoption, but basically means that a family will give a child to another set of parents to raise for part of their childhood. And that was the case for Liliʻu. Her parents gave her to Pauahi's family to raise, and so Pauahi and Liliʻu grew up in the same household, essentially as sisters throughout much of their childhoods. And so we see a nice representation of that in that photograph. They're about, it's around 1859, so this means that Liliʻu is about 20, 21, Pauahi is about 27, 28. So still young women, still growing into their roles as leaders in the kingdom that they will come to fulfill. And in fact, there's the original name, so Liliʻuokalani becomes her official name when she is Queen Liliʻuokalani. That is her entire name when she holds that office. But earlier in her life, she has the English name Lydia. She has a different Hawaiian name, Kamakaʻeha, and she also takes the Hawaiian last name Pāki, which is the same as Pauahi, who originally is Bernice Pauahi Pāki, only taking Bishop as her married name. So at that time, in their earlier point in their lives, it was very clear that they had this family connection because they shared the same last name. But of course, time moves on. Liliʻuokalani becomes queen. She's now ruler of the kingdom. And so we have evidence of that legacy with, one thing I'll point out is this gown, which actually, though, is a little bit before. This is a gown that she wore for the coronation of her brother, for King David Kalakaua, when he holds an official coronation ceremony, when he is the ruling king of the kingdom. She is present as his sister. She is there as a key member of this new royal dynasty that now the Kalakaua family has taken power. And she will also then become the heir to the throne and take over when her brother passes away. But I also want to point out, aside from this role as royalty and all of her political legacy. Liliʻuokalani, her brother Kalakaua, their sister Likelike, and their other brother Leleohoku. They are also known as Nalani Eha, the four royal or sacred persons. And this is their name in terms of their work as composers. They're also known for their work in music and leave a lasting legacy in that regard as well. Liliʻuokalani is perhaps best remembered for this because her most famous composition has become famous not just in Hawaii but around the world, and that is a song called Aloha Oe, which I'm sure many people watching this broadcast, if not all, have encountered at some point in their lives. And one of the very special artifacts that we have connected to this queen is this guitar, I'll point out. This was her guitar, and the story goes that this is the guitar she used when she was composing that song, Aloha Oe. And this is a song of love, though particularly it's somewhat bittersweet because it is a parting. It is based on a scene that she had witnessed of a parting of two lovers who will hopefully meet again, but for the moment they will be separated. And so she wanted to capture that moment in song and has left a piece of music that has lasted and remained quite well known throughout the ages. And in this spirit of memory and legacy, I have one last thing I'd like to show you folks today, and we're going to take a bit of a walk because we're going to go to a slightly different area. You can get a view of the rest of Waolani. There's a whole lot of history being covered here, but I just wanted to also point out that we have this ribbon here. This is a ribbon which bears the signature of Liliʻuokalani, and it has a message in Hawaiian, "Mai puina oi iau," and we can translate that as "Do not forget me." This is saying, and so this is coming from the Queen, asking to not be forgotten, to be remembered, and this is particularly relevant in the time when she is no longer queen, when there is an overthrow, when there is a transition to becoming now a U.S. territory, and the monarchy begins to be seen as a thing of the past by some people. But for others, she is still the queen, and she makes this request of her people that she not be forgotten. Mai puina oi iau. And it is in that spirit of remembrance, just like the many things we hold here in the Bishop Museum. That is very much part of our mission. But particularly at this time of year, this is the time to reflect especially on Liliʻuokalani, on the legacies that endure and that have a lasting impact. We can see certainly her as well as the other members of these royal lineages really have shaped society as we know it today in Hawaii. So the monarchy, though now seen more as a thing of the past, still has this enduring impact on the Hawaii we have now. I'm going to leave you with that. Mahalo for joining me for another WāKahiko Wednesday. Again, I am Iāsona, coming to you from the Bishop Museum. We'd love for you to come and visit us in person and get to see these things. Or you can also check out our website, bishopmuseum.org, and be sure to check us out, same place, same time, next week for another WāKahiko Wednesday. Mahalo, ahui ho.